Dear guests, welcome back to our online summit here at Pepperl+Fuchs, and now it's time for our networking lounge. That means for you can ask questions as well. So just use our live chat. You can find it on the lower right side. Just push the button and feel free to ask questions. We pass them on to our experts on stage. Today we're focusing on smart intralogistics solutions with focus on RFID and the Lidar technology. And therefore we have two collaborations, two partnerships as an example, and experts on stage: Thorsten Schröder, Branislav Pejanovic, Michael Fees, and Konrad Kern. So just to give our audience a short introduction of yourself, maybe we just go around.
Yeah, thank you, Oliver. My name is Thorsten Schröder. I'm a product manager here at Pepperl+Fuchs, and it is my responsibility to take care of all the sensors based on time of flight, all our Lidar sensors, or PRT sensors, as we call our underlying technology.
My name is Branislav Pejanovic. I'm working at the department called Central Technical Sales Support, especially in the group Solutions and Technology. As a project engineer, it is my job to create customer solutions, but not the customer solutions we already seen at Montratec. It's a solution based on hardware, standard hardware of Pepperl+Fuchs, where we do the custom software applications. Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Michael Fees. I'm working with Montratec. Montratec is a high-tech innovation company producing intralogistics systems. I'm responsible for all sales activities in the area of Germany, Austria, and Switzerland.
Good to be here today. My name is Konrad Kern. So I joined Pepperl+Fuchs 22 years ago, roundabout, and I'm responsible for the product management group inside Biosystems. So Biosystems takes care about product ranges of industrial communication, connectivity business, and what we maybe point detailed on it is identification RFID systems.
Okay, as you already mentioned, we're talking about two different projects, two different systems, RFID and Lidar technology, and of course you're here for Montratec because of the Lidar technology. But let's first start maybe with a short introduction about a finger house and the RFID technologies there. So Branislav, what were the approaches? Why this collaboration?
Mm-hmm. So basically there was this company Fingerhouse who were not involved in automation or in RFID techniques at all. They were focused on building houses, so most of the workers there were carpenters or woodworkers, but they had a struggle to produce as fast, as efficient as they would like. So basically they Googled RFID technology and came up with a question for us if we could take care about.
I think it was the first hit then.
Yeah, it was basically the first hit. Then they contacted Daniel Möst, and then the things got rolling. So at first, then I and another colleague went to Fingerhouse to take an on-site visit with them and to see where we can be involved in their situation. So that was the first contact points then. Mm-hmm. And what we then have to say is that Fingerhouse was already exceptionally involved in there, and they were really eager to give us as much detail and information for us to find the perfect solution.
Mm-hmm. So as you just said, they Googled and they found Pepperl+Fuchs. How's Pepperl+Fuchs, Konrad, seen in the market as an RFID supplier?
I think this is not a big surprise because we are known as a well-known established company also for RFID. So maybe we started 30 years ago or a bit more than that. So at these days, RFID was not a common product. It was something specific, really innovative. So at these days we had to do our own chip design to have a good performance transponder for that. So it's these days. Nowadays, okay, we know we have a lot of on the market, and this is not the topic for today, but these days was an innovative technology. We invested a lot of money into it, also manpower it. We keep it running up to today, and have also in mind we still supply some spare parts that are 30 years old, and this covers the customers from downtime. So we can simply exchange one product 30 year old, so this keeps your production line running. This is a benefit and added value for our customers.
Mm-hmm. It's of course tough to say if this is a typical a collaboration, a typical RFID project. How would you measure that?
Okay. Basically, I cannot say in my department that there's a typical RFID solution. So it highly depends on the customer and also on the based environment we have there. So it's really not possible to say this is our solution for everything. I just put them out my pocket and say, so yeah, this is what you need. So what we do is usually contact the customer, ask as many questions as possible to figure out what does the environment there look like. Are they already using transponders, or are we delivering and supporting with our known transponders? So if we know the transponder, then we can tell based on the surface it's mounted on, how long the range is for the read heads, so we can tell if this is a practical solution where we have a good reading or writing rate, or if we struggle to do so. And then also it's important to be on site to tell if you have any other frequency emitters who can interfere with the read heads, or other way around, which interfere with the read heads sending in some frequencies. So this was also the case in a few other projects. So there it's really important to take these data in front where the head is mounted. It's not possible to emulate and simulate everything in the laboratory or in the office. So that's one point.
And I think, Michael, there are many steps in this. You can imagine you were the same. How did this collaboration with Pepperl+Fuchs develop for Montratec from the beginning on? What were your challenges you were facing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the main task for an innovative company is to develop your products, right? I mean, the customer needs are developing, they are changing depending on the market requirements and so on. So we had an established product, but we have seen that we need to improve it. We have to improve cycle times for the product, for our customers, for their processes, total processes. And therefore, we were looking for a solution which enables us to just have a smooth project flow, a smooth flow of all materials you have in the market. So I don't know if we did it by Google. I'm not sure, but we came up to Pepperl+Fuchs and have seen there is something similar on the market already with maybe a little bit different automated solution already. So we get in contact with Pepperl+Fuchs, and yeah, they were happy, and they faced the challenge that, oh great, let's do it, right? I don't know.
What did you exactly say that?
I'm sure.
The main difference here is that we knew each other before. I mean, not we personally, but the companies, PNF and Montratec, we knew each other before, and we supplied to you other standard sensors already before. We haven't done any customer-specific solution for you that time before, but we knew each other, and what I knew from our sales guys that you addressed them with the question for your new shuttle generation, and that's how it started from my perspective.
Mm.
I would also give a statement here because I think this is more than just a customer relation. This is a close partnership, I would say.
Absolutely.
So we also presented this system on the SPS fair last year. So Hanover was not existing this year, but okay, maybe next year again. And that was a great event. So where also Montech was present and giving good introduction to their own system for the logistics.
Absolutely.
That's usually also one point, as you already stated. We supply the customer with these standards products, and usually if there's a project, then the sales comes also to us and asks, well, we have a specific question here from our customer. Can we manage to do this with our standard portfolio? And if not, then we hand over to other departments who can.
And this was an extremely specific order you had. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. To give you a little bit of understanding of it, the previous sensor we have installed in our shuttle system was a one-beam solution. And of course, a one-beam solution can look straightforward, right? So he can detect, of course, other shuttles in front of him. He can detect other objects in front of him. Now, when it comes to a curve, we had the challenge that we have to stop and have to ask by another sensor solution, is the curve free? Can I pass it? And then from the control unit, the go is coming or not coming. So, and as I said, to improve all the cycle times and process steps of a customer, I need to eliminate this stop, any stop in a line. And that's why we have to widen the range of optics. Yeah, let's say like that. So I need to look around the corner. Right? And yeah, that's basically our specification and our task for Pepperl+Fuchs.
And then you had to get busy.
Yeah,
extremely busy.
What I can get from my perspective, and that's the perspective from a sensor manufacturer, the sensor that you were using that was a single beam, right? Yes. But it was even more. It was a binary sensor. It was a sensor that could say yes or no, 1 or 0, and you could go or you could stop. And for us, that was immediately clear that we need something else here. We need a truly measurement solution with values that constantly are generated, so that for that what you want to do, looking in the curves and really control your vehicle, you need measurement values. And that's was our starting point when we got busy.
And then everything developed. Just to get a little picture of Montech, how does it distinguish from other products?
First of all, Montech is very cost effective, very energy saving. We need simply 24 volts to operate the whole system. That means you have very low operation cost. And especially in such times as we have nowadays, everybody is changing his flow in the company's processes. You need to look for the CO2 footprint, right? And this all impacts the operation costs. Yeah, this is a very big benefit we are bringing. Another point is that we have, when you are planning a line, right, you need certain kind of space. With Montech, you have the possibility to plan it much more narrow than others can do it, right? We also can install on the floor. We can be installed overhead. And also the operation is very intelligent. It could run autark, right? We would not need any additional programming or software. And yeah, the uptime is, great. Right? The shuttle, you just remove a shuttle if it's necessary for maintenance or whatever, and the whole line is still running, right? And for competitors, if you need to maintain a motor, you have to stop the whole line. So the uptime is a very big feature from our system.
And you don't have to break down before a curve. You can just
That's
a good feature.
And as Benedict said in the live launch, with a high speed, 30 meters per minute.
Yes, this is average. We can run up to 55 meters per minute on straight lines, of course, not through a curve. That would be critical. actually.
But
But
you can improve.
oh, then okay. Yeah, also up to 55 meters per minute. But yes, we need to see what is the weight we are carrying. We can carry up to 50 kilos on our shuttle. Of course, it's also critical to run 50 kilos with 55 meters per minute, right? So you have to look on the whole line, on the whole project at the end, and then specify what is needed and what is what fits for our customers.
Specification, that's a good keyword. For example, with the collaboration with Fingerhouse and a system that fits to their ERP system. How did that work?
Basically, in Fingerhouse, we used the standard components we have in our portfolio, but we had to find a way to connect to the Intralogistics and to the ERP system from Fingerhouse. So what we did is build a software, modular software, which is basically two parts. You have one part of the software which is taking care to connect and to configure the RFID hardware, the ident controllers, and which is also storing configuration data. As already mentioned, here for our customer it was also important that if they have to change something in the production and replace something, that they don't have to stop the whole system, so they can just unplug it, plug something new, and then the software knows, there was a disconnection, there's on this spot, this IP address, I have a controller, and then initializes the configuration process again. So this is a part which was really complicated to implement in the software, so that the software is really intelligent. So you have then a new controller which is supplied with the old configuration and parameters the one before had. So nobody needs to stop and to initialize the whole process. It's basically running in the background. So this is one part. And it also stores all the raw data, the RFID read heads, supply, and then the Fingerhouse. We have right now, I think we are at 28 read heads who are installed there. So you have a lot of data, and this is all in one piece of software. Then you have the second piece of software, which is basically made to have the best possible configuration or best possible interface to the customer's intralogistics and ERP system. And yeah, that's what we did there. And the second part of the software is providing a database which is also supplied not only with the raw data, it adds functionality, so we know the raw data is connected to a named production table, so they don't have to look up always what ID we had at this place. It's just stated and read it, and we know this was at the plastering station, for example, or for the window fitting tables, so that they know where this data comes from. They have then the trigger points for input and output, and that's what we then provide to the ERP system, and so they can have a nice report and don't have to figure out what does these raw data on. So it makes it really easy for the customer to use.
Yeah. So maybe even that is maybe a bit detailed because we are deep in the matter in itself. But in principle, what is important is we do not only offer a product, we just say take it or leave it. So we take care of the complete solution. So a product, the hardware goes along with the software. So in combination, it becomes a solution. In this case, for Fingerhouse, which is challenging side effects for sure and demanding needs for the customers because it was not a standard factory automation application, we have to say here, because the material itself is a dimension of 10 meters or something like that. It is. Yeah. So it is a bit specific.
Yeah, it's
here.
huge.
And therefore, to integrate in the software and to handle all the physical needs, I think it is great what you have done.
Yeah. Because basically the RFID technique firstly was used in the automation sector, So where you basically take these data you have from a transponder, from your RFID tag or transponder, and then try to control your production somehow. But in this case, we are not only in the automation sector, we are also in the reporting and report generating sector. So there's nothing controlled, basically by the information the RFID heads give us. It's only the benefit that that transparency increases and the customer knows when a part is going to be ready to be picked up by the expedition and this let's say expedition and lorry when you can ship it to the customer. So that's the different part of RFID controls.
Yeah. And another part, you mentioned software and hardware. On the other side, housing is maybe an important topic there. Can you tell us that more?
For us as Pepperl+Fuchs, so as a long time we are known as a sensor manufacturer. So by the way, we also invented the inductive sensor more than 60 years ago. Therefore, we have a lot of housings available. So basically, we can use all these housings also for RFID readers or other components. You just have to have in mind that identification, RFID in particular, is a bit specific on the signal level. So you have to handle small signals, and it's very important that you have a perfectly shielded surrounding. That means maybe the sensor housing has to take care that some metal parts are available. Your connectors, your cords that you're using is shielded. The ident control, which is one innovation we brought to the market long ago, is a complete metal housing with a grounding option. So therefore we have a perfect shielding concept like a Faraday cage, and that enables us to give you a good performance in all the applications we do, and you can trust on our performance and our features of the products.
Mm-hmm. We'll jump to that back later. There's just a question from China concerning Montratec. Is the company represented in China or the Asian market?
Absolutely, yeah. Especially in China, we have own sales staff there. And in total Asia, we're working with several agencies and partners together to ensure service installations and maintenance.
Mm-hmm. So, maybe let's stay at Montratec for this and have a deeper look into the Lidar sensors and the PRT technology. There was that question, what are their USPs on the sensor market?
Oh, there's a lot we could talk about.
All right, I have a break.
Yeah, let me put it this way. When we started to measure by time of flight, it was about 15 years ago, we decided right from the beginning to use our own technology, the one that we call PRT these days, and what was introduced in the live launch before. So just sending out the pulse, measuring the travel time to the target and back, and determine the time that is needed and calculate the distance out of that. That's the principle that we used, that was not developed by us, but that is the basis for all our sensors. What we did with that method is we modified it, we adopted it. We are able today to use it in many different ways. So we have products in our range that can measure up to several hundred meters, and we have products in our range that can measure up to 500 millimeters, as in the Montratec project. So, and that's our biggest asset that we have with this so-called PRT technology, that we can adapt it to the needs of the factory automation, and that we can adapt it to different application, to different needs. Mm. So, and what it means in practice, so we can direct the technology in a way that, on the range that I mentioned already, but for different surrounding conditions, we can adopt it as well, so that it is fully in our hand, and we decide how the technology suits best for the individual application. That's exactly what we did here in that OneTrotec case.
Absolutely, and that's why it's the right technology for it, because basically...
Did you actually know it before what Pepperl+Fuchs is capable of?
I'm not sure. No, I have to say, I was not a part of the project team, unfortunately. Now I know the Pepperl+Fuchs guys, they are really great, I want to say at that point. But then I think my technicians knew already what is possible with Pepperl+Fuchs and what they have in their portfolio and what we can develop together. What I wanted to say is that the one-track line basically can run without any housing, right? So therefore we need any additional safety items, security systems like this sensor, which detects also objects not only in front of a shuttle, also beside the tracks. So of course I can teach there's a tunnel, there's a post, yeah. But if there are people, yeah, you cannot program if there's a people or not. So I need an intelligent system who detects there's a people or a human being does not belong to there. So the shuttle immediately slows down, yeah, so that the danger is reduced to the minimum. And that's why we decided with Pepperl+Fuchs that this is the right technology for our application.
But are your experiences so far with that?
Great. Works.
If we could also test it on the fair, when you stand a bit closer, okay, the thing is going back. It was very impressive. Yeah.
But in fact, speaking of use cases and...
But it's kind of a déjà vu for me now, because that's exactly these kind of discussions that you always have in the beginning of a project like that. So you start with bringing people, bringing teams together and talking about these things in the individual application, and from our side, to translate it into the demands to our sensor. And all the things that you just mentioned and many more, we started to discuss in our group of people that we set up at the beginning of the project.
Maybe, Thorsten, you should give our audience also one other feedback. So you mentioned you're measuring the time, okay, close to half a meter. So just let them know maybe what is the time resolution you have to undergo to fulfill that. I think time light is pretty fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So the light travels by 300,000 kilometers per second, and we are talking here about half a meter. Our advantage is that we have the time twice to the target and back, so it's 1 meter that we are talking about. And to achieve that accuracy that you need here in these applications, we have to evaluate it down to picoseconds, yeah, and that's necessary with that technology.
Maybe picoseconds is
extremely hard to
number
imagine.
12 zeros.
Yeah, that's
okay, though. It's quite a lot.
Yeah, no one said that it is easy.
It might be difficult if you're looking for worldwide solutions. Then what it might be challenging is then because of different systems and platforms.
What do you mean? Is that for the RFID?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What you mentioned, or maybe touched to mention, is the different frequency range we have standardized on the market. That's the way your question asking. That is true. So some try to solve some systems with, let's say, only HF system. Okay, you will completely fail with the Fingerhouse project because it gives not the range. This is pretty clear. And a general saying is, if all you have is a hammer, then it looks everything like a nail, okay? So if you have only one tool, only HF, so you will try to solve everything with HF. So what we have is Pepperl+Fuchs, the wide range. The LF, perfect in metal mounting surroundings, so you can flash mount into metal for the transponder. The HF system is also a near field system, so with a good read range, very reliable on this fact, so you can reproduce the application. But you have an additional benefit. You can use this transponders as a smart label. So on top of that, you can have a barcode, a 2D code, or printed information on the tag. This comes at very reasonable cost to you. So this is very often used in manufacturing technology, where you have a closed loop, I would say, to run the system at a distance of 10, 20 centimeters, something like that. And the UHF system we had for finger house is running for several meters. So also here we have different solutions available. So we can put the selection very easy on this case. And the UHF tag comes even lower in cost. So if the tag is going away, you can also realize open loops. So that is in opening the door for other application completely. And therefore UHF is very trendy, I would say, and coming up. This is what we see from our figures. But have also in mind, RFID is not the only identification technology PNF is offering. So we have barcode, we have 2D code, we have imaging system, camera system, by side of the wide range from RFID system. So we pick simply the best for the application. So this is a completely different approach what others may have.
But today's market is trending into Ethernet, actually?
Our idea is, with our ident control we invented a few years back, is to cover all the needs, to cover LF, HF, UHF on one device. You can everything connected, and this gives you the background infrastructure for that. And as well, you have several interfaces available here. So it means you can cover the well-known industrial communication interfaces on Ethernet-based platform like Profinet, EtherCAT, Ethernet IP, Modbus TCP, and so on worldwide. You can cover all these applications with it, but also have in mind there's a wide installed basis inside of the field. So we talk about millions of Profibus slaves in the field. So therefore we also support these, and device that is not about Interbus, maybe forgotten in the meantime, but this is still existing in our spare part range, and this helps our customer to keep systems alive.
There are several questions again coming in the chat. Allow me one more, since you were talking about a little view into the future. What is coming? What's your expectations?
Ethernet-based system is for sure a challenge and an open field for the future. And I think we come up with more than only Ethernet. I think parallel communication is a very important topic. So you know the buzzword OPC UA. This is a quite good demand from automotive industry especially, but also from other customers. So this allows you a parallel communication channel. So you run the OT, operation technology system, like you know from PLC side, fast processing, and in parallel you can run IT system on it for maintenance, for diagnosis, for setup dashboards. You can go to a local server, you can go to the worldwide cloud communication. I think with the biosystems, so systems means everything from the sensor to the cloud, you can say in general, and also with the acquisition of Control last year, we make our assortment more complete. So we have a perfect IO-Link master solution here with a full transparency down to the readers. We can offer switches. We have the middle hardware, the gateways to transfer the old systems communicating by serial communication to Ethernet, and we can also make this kind of bridges between different feedback systems or Ethernet systems. So this is a full offering we can give to our customers, and this is something you can trust on.
Great overview. And maybe if there are questions, just ask us and we'll pass them on. I think there may be some question marks right now. There's another question concerning Montratec. Maybe Thorsten, you could answer. Is the 5-beam sensor exclusive for Montratec applications?
Yeah, I can answer that. This sensor indeed is exclusive to Montratec, and if you looked on the video, it is designed in a way that it really seamless fits into your machine. So if you are not familiar with this type of shuttle, you would not even know that there is a sensor. So that's really designed into that machine. So it would not even make sense to use it in any other equipment. But the technology, the PRT technology, of course, is not exclusive. The PRT technology is our technology that we can use in any way that we like to do and in any product we would like to develop. So adopting PRT to other applications, to other sensors, that is no doubt here. Yeah? And if you go back and look to that project, what we did here, it was totally different from yours, where your job was mainly providing the right components and giving writing software. What we did here, that was kind of a classic R&D project, what we did here. So we had that already. We started with the applications wrote a specification, agreed on a specification, and then we started really a development. That means we created new mechanics, we adopted the electronics from the PRT technology, and we made new software. The software in this case is fully adopted to your vehicle controller. It interacts with your vehicle controller and probably no other vehicle controller in the world. So that was all touched in that project. And these are the things we have to keep in mind, that we are able to do such things in projects like that. So and that's, of course, coming back to your question, something we are able to do with other sensors, other applications as well.
Yeah. So let's just say contact Pepperl+Fuchs and you'll have your solution then, your personal. But speaking of Montratec, there's another question concerning the load that the shuttles can carry. Can you tell us something about that?
Of course, yeah. With our new shuttle generation, Shuttle 5, we can carry up to 50 kilos. Yeah.
But we have to lose a little weight. To be carried on your shuttle.
Right. And this on a way, as I said, on a very flexible way, by designing the tracks. Of course, we also can carry very, very light things, like in milligram. Maybe they have to fix a little bit, right? Because a big benefit of our shuttle system, and therefore also the sensor is very important, is that we can adjust the ramps, you know, the speed up ramps and the slow down ramps. And depending on what kind of power I'm carrying, how much the weight is, I need to adapt it.
Yeah, that's maybe one interesting point. What you get from us, the measurement values, you
Right.
get the distance values. What you're doing with these distance values in your application, we leave up to you, because you know that much better. You know your shuttle, you know what distance you need, you know how to program the ramps. That's something we are not the experts in, yeah? But we give you all the information you need to program that in an optimized way.
In difference to the project at Fingerhouse, you had the whole project management actually in your hands. What's the advantage then?
Yeah, basically the advantage is also, yeah, let's say also a struggle there, because at Fingerhouse, as Daniel already said, for Fingerhouse it was the benefit, this one-stop shopping. So they had the whole solution, the turnkey solution from one partner. So they have one contact person, in this case me. They can get their questions answered, and but they were really eager to find a nice solution for them, and to be as efficient as possible in their production. This way, they were already before they contacted us. They are really dynamic and agile in their production, which was the struggle for us to keep up with their dynamic and agility. So during the whole process to find a solution, they already rebuilt and replanned their production, I think 2 or 3 times, and where we had to adapt and said, okay, yeah, wait, if you do it like this, then we have to place our read head on the other side. We cannot do this with the triggers. We need to reposition them. Then you have a metal environment, for example, there. So then you have to switch the type of sensor to make it fit again. Yeah, but that's our struggle and the benefit for the customer, because we then are also agile as our customer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would say this is a common fact. I would say that customers always come with new ideas. So they have some troubles, they feel some needs. Okay, come on. Sorry,
We just want the best product, right?
But at the end, a trouble the customer faces, okay, is a challenge for us at the first time, but then it's also an opportunity for us, okay? If you get it solved, the customer is a benefit. So
and you always run into challenges. So maybe everyone knows, if they start a project at home or somewhere else, you always run into some uncertainties and challenges you did not expect before or at the start, at the beginning of your project. So that's usually what happens also with the customer. It's no matter what and no matter how detailed the customer sent you his requirements, there's always one hint nobody had on their plan, where we have to dynamically find a solution.
You know, you always have to specify a little bit higher, and then you get the target, right? And then you get the hit, and then I'm satisfied. So who is satisfied?
Yeah, but it's interesting that we all mentioned that in our project. We did something very special, and one of the milestones that we agreed on quite early was to supply to you a prototype. So prototype means was not a fully developed and under standard conditions manufactured sensor, so it was more rapid prototyping. It was not the final circuit board. The software was not complete, but the sensor was able to measure, and we gave that to your R&D guys to confirm whether our ideas met in that case. And in exchange, what we got from you, we got one of the first prototypes of your shuttle. So on our R&D premises, we got a small loop with 2 shuttles. We could, I said, play a little with that. We really enjoyed that, and did some tests as well. So it was running there, and we could monitor the values. We could demonstrate it to your R&D guys what the values look like, what you get out of the sensor. And after finishing that step, and we said on both sides, okay, that's what we would like to have, with some adoptions, of course, otherwise it would not have made sense to go this step. We went into the final development. We made the toolings for it. We wrote the software to communicate with your vehicle controller. Then we finished it after that step, and that's just another way of to get rid of these kind of misunderstandings that might be in these kind of projects, different languages that we use. Yeah, so we had that already at the units that we use for speed. So we are all talking here in Europe mainly about kilometers per hour from cars, or technically meters per second. You are talking about meters per minute. Yeah, so, and there are a lot of examples where we use other terms.
And as you just said, you had the opportunity to build it up in a smaller scale and then adapt it to...
No, the scale was exactly the same,
okay.
but it was a kind of prototype. So we did not make tools for the components at that time. The software was not complete, so it was able to fulfill the basic functionality at that time.
But only with 2 shuttles and not the huge system, which might differ from your approach, since I think it wasn't possible to say, okay, let's go into the factory and see if it works. You had to do another approach, I guess.
No, it was not really like that. So we could not say, okay, let's have tried to do this prototyping thing. So it was basically, for me at my first day at the production there, it was really hard to focus on the customer, because I was so impressed by the production and the noise there. It was crazy, because you have to imagine there were these huge saw robots who were cutting the timber wood at measure. Then you had the guys who had these high pressure nail guns who are fitting the panels to these timber wood walls, and then you have on the other end you have the plastering station with high pressure there, who's also making high noises when there's an air bubble in the hose, and the nail guns are really really loud, and so you have all these impressions, and there's a timber wood wall coming over your head because there's a crane transporting it to the other side. So this was really tough there. But then when things got going, you try somehow to overhear these noise. You have the earplugs inside, and then you try to be focused. on step by step. And I had a small test system with me. That's usually what we do when we go to the customers, and yeah, it's not a fixed system, so we can then try to put the trigger sensor. It's mounted with a small neodyme magnet, so we can place it on some metal parts there, and we can move it around so to find the perfect trigger spot. And that's
But
also
the production was running.
yeah, the production was running. They did not stop, and they did not care that we were there. So that's also the noise. They did not stop for us. So usually you have a few seconds or minutes, depending on which workstation you are, till the next production element comes. And so then you can go there and try to find a spot for your read head. And then you have another guy with you comes and said, I'm sorry, you cannot place this one there. Yeah, I know we have in our production these smaller parts, but we also have parts who's going 1 meter larger there, so it will just kick your read head down. You have to place it somewhere under the table, for example. So then we had to go under the table and find a spot where it's not too much metal, and then in a lot of positions we placed it under the table, under plastic or wood surface they use to roll the timber wood walls. So we are looking through one plywood plate, and then through the wall, and then through it's not the wall, they have the several parts of insulation, and then there's somewhere inside this wall is the transponder. So we have different materials we have to cross before to reach the transponder. So this was really interesting. And back to the software part. So this was my part, trying to find with our standard components for each production step the right place. So basically the prototype, as you used, we had to figure out this in hardware side, and software side it was some kind of prototype. So then, because we did not have all the read heads already installed, we had a really tough timeline, so we did things in parallel. The software part was already done, and the infrastructure, like the servers and databases, were complete, but we had not the amount of RFID data to test and benchmark these systems. So we had to create, or the software guys had to create some kind of simulated data who runs through these databases and gets reconfigured, gets read out and then back. So they had their software prototype, and we had parallel there our RFID, let's say, prototype with our standard components.
Sounds like fun days there.
Yeah, it was. But there's especially then one time at lunch where you hear a bell, and then everything silences down from one to the next second. Everybody stops working, and you think, oh, this silence is so great. So yeah, and basically that's also what you have, this experience, because they do not stop working. That they are working 24 hours, 7 days a week. So you have this relief when you go out of the production and sit in your car and say, it's nice to work in the office and not in the production places. At
that time going back to the home office.
Yeah, but I'm really impressed by these people working there. They are doing incredible jobs.
Yeah. There's one more question concerning Montratec coming from Singapore. In which industry does Montratec mainly operate? So once again, thanks for asking. You can ask us anytime if you like. As we said, we pass the questions on.
Yeah. So basically, we can deliver our system to every industry which is available worldwide. Of course, we have some restriction, as said, with limited to the weight we can carry, and maybe to the food industry we have some limitations, and medical and pharma. The main industry basically is still automotive, but not, of course, the diesel engines anymore. Our focus now strongly is on the e-mobility, So we already have a lot of projects doing the e-motors with well-known manufacturers. And also we're looking, of course, of all the other e-mobility developments, such as displays, which you can find on every car, such as your bicycle at home. You know, I think in 2 years everybody will have an e-bike, and these are the markets we are basically in at the moment. But again, focusing also on the others, such as medical, pharma, and injection molding, for example. Yeah, everything's possible.
Huge range.
Range, absolutely. Great.
Right. Since we're running a little out of time, maybe free to use, there anything you'd like to add we didn't mention up to now?
Maybe one story which is of interest, maybe because we did discuss about specific solution for customers. So one job we did for the company Continental. Okay, these days, because we mentioned we have so many housings, okay, but there was one case we could not fit any house into it, because the requirement of the customer side was such that they like to have a permanent read of a transponder inside the manufacturing area where you have a turning axis, so the tag is moving around and around, so hard to place a tag somewhere to cover it. So it was pretty clear from the very beginning, you need a ring-shaped sensor for that, or a ring-shaped reader for that. So we did that in a few weeks, so the first construction, 3D construction, and we did also this 3D printing, the first prototype and so on, and we made it happen after 4 or 5 months to get ready to deliver the first product into this industry. And you know, tire industry is worldwide. Continental is a large company, so to deliver worldwide is a hard pressure and challenge at the same time for us. So this is maybe just one example. We have to do something specific for customers as well, and take care not only for the hardware, but also for the software that the system will run. And these days it was also in combination with UHF, used at Fingerhouse, because this is just one part of it. So you need to cover all the part, all the full logistic of manufacturing. I think this was quite impressive what we did in these days. Yeah.
Right. Anything else?
Yeah, maybe two more thoughts from my end. We did talk a lot about technology and application here in that case. But one of the very early demands from your end was as well to meet certain cost targets, what was quite challenging as well, and especially with measurement technologies, is not that easy to achieve yet, but it's totally clear today that a measurement sensor is always a LiDAR sensor more expensive than just one beam energetic sensor as you had it before. But that was clear from the beginning, and we're dealing with that very, very open on our efforts we have to take and the added value that you get. And finally, of course, it was not the target to make the most expensive shuttle in the world. So you said it in your first statement that you can be very cost effective, and we had to take this pressure as well, what we can do with our technology. So, for instance, probably have never realized that our system operates with a LED, not with a laser, as all other sensors in that field. What gives us cost advantages? What made us able to solve your application? And second thought, maybe we are talking about these kind of projects, software-based, hardware-based, whatever it is. There are 3 people of P&F sitting here, but that's just 3 people. Whatever we do, we have a worldwide operating structure for these kind of projects. There are product managers all over the world dealing with these customized solutions, and the big advantage for them is that they are not just working with one technology as I represent here. They are technology open, and they decide what technology fits best to solve the individual application. So what I wanted to say just there, to contact our salespersons and get in touch with these kind of people.
Just to add one side, as you mentioned, the contactors, just the salespeople. We often have, or that's what I hear at the first contact with the customers, they are having, that there's a barrier to contact us because these RFID topic, or in my case, the RFID topic, is hugely complex. And so most of the customers don't want to spend their time in getting the information, how things work, what they can use. But that's basically our job. We are really advanced in these RFID techniques, and we have the knowledge. So the customer does not need to have this knowledge. But also after each project, we offer them a training if they are willing to understand what the key facts they need to know when installing a new sensor or a new read head, how to manage and maintain them, and basically just to know what to do when there is an unexpected behavior. But also when you have a customer who is not capable of giving you the resources, the manpower, and they don't want to have this knowledge in-house, we also offer them the service that we can maintain their system and manage and find solutions if there is an unexpected behavior. Mm-hmm. So then somebody gets in the car and goes to the customer, and we try to find a solution as fast as possible.
Yeah. So we try to give support for sure, but we also try to make the hardware even better. So we have also invented the so-called easy startup mode. So it's just one feature. You give the reader 24 volt and it just start reading. So make it just very simple. So it will not fit to every application. It is completely true. Not for this one. It's special. But in principle, for standard application, it helps the customer as well to make the hardware simple. You can also use the expert mode, and then you are in more discussions. Yeah.
This is exactly what we do as well, right? We have now this prototype tested in-house at Pepperl+Fuchs. Now we have the first shuttles on-site at the customer, directly in contact with the customer, getting their feedback, pulling it back to Pepperl+Fuchs, maybe doing some adaptations on the software improvements, also focused on the customer needs. And I think this is much, much more important nowadays to keep the direct interaction alive, right?
And I think we got great examples today for the headline, when customers become partners. I think these are two really great examples with Fingerhouse and Montratec. So thanks again, Thorsten Schröder, Branislav Bejanovic, Michael Fees and Konrad Kern for this round. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. And in case you missed it, no problem at all. You can find this networking lounge and of course our live lounges and so on our online summit page. Just go ahead, click there, for example, when you want to know something more about our first day. Then you have the keynotes, the live lounges, and of course the networking lounges, as I just mentioned. And of course you can ask questions in the aftermath, no problem at all, in the next days, and they will be answered as well. So thanks a lot. Maybe for today, then we hopefully see tomorrow. Then we have a look at Ethernet APL, and otherwise we see again at 2:30 p.m. German time. Have a great day. Take care.